Okay, let's just jump right in. What if I told you there's a huge story happening literally all around us, right now, every single second? It's a story that messes with our homes, our jobs, even our safety. It's all about these invisible forces we totally rely on, and here's the crazy part, most newsrooms are completely missing it. So I'm going to ask you point blank, what's the biggest tech story your newsroom isn't covering right now? Well, the answer is in this amazing report we're going to break down today. Think of it as an introduction to a full 10-part guide made just for news media. It's all about helping you tackle this growing issue from all sorts of angles. And this is solid stuff, based on a report from RFI Detectives, which itself comes from research by Virtualization Options LLC. They're a research and education group based out in Colorado. And that story, that invisible problem, is radio frequency interference. You can call it RFI for short. Think of it like the static in our super digital lives. It's that unseen force causing so many of our modern frustrations and, as you're about to see, some really serious dangers. And believe me, this isn't just a tech problem for the geeks to solve. It's a deeply, deeply human story. Yeah, that's really the heart of it, isn't it? RFI is this invisible story that's just loaded with conflict, with mystery, with real consequences. It's all about how our super connected world, a world we take for granted, can just stop. And what's great for you as a journalist is that it's packed with amazing characters and storylines just waiting for someone to dig in. And what's really wild here is just how wide-ranging this is. I mean, this is not a niche problem. Think about it. We're talking about RFI messing with the GPS that guides your car, sure, but also the giant cargo ships crossing the ocean. It's what's behind your glitchy home Wi-Fi, why your car key fobs suddenly won't work. It even hits business productivity. And then there's the really serious stuff. It can totally disrupt emergency communications and public safety. So, okay, how on earth do you report on a story you can't even see, right? Well, that's exactly where this guide comes in. Seriously, think of it as your secret weapon. It's a toolkit built from the ground up to help newsrooms like yours take this complicated, invisible topic and turn it into reporting that people absolutely have to see and hear. The whole point of the guide is pretty simple, actually. It's here to arm you, the journalist, with everything you need. We're talking story angles, expert sources to call, and even scripts you could basically put on the air tomorrow. It's all designed to help you drag this invisible threat out into the open for your audience, making it easy to understand and, most importantly, easy to report on. So let's take a look inside. The guide is basically split into two big parts. The first half, it's all about the stories that hit your audience right where they live. I mean, literally, in their homes and cars. These are those everyday frustrations, those little mysteries caused by RFI that are going to have everyone in your audience nodding along thinking, oh my gosh, that happens to me. So chapters 1 through 5 are all about that personal angle. Chapter 1 kicks off with GPS, but we're going way beyond just your phone's map app. It shows you how this stuff affects banking and even shipping. Then, Chapter 2, this one's great. It gives you the ammo to finally answer that age-old question. Why is my Wi-Fi so terrible? Chapter 3 dives into key fobs and garage door openers, a fantastic consumer protection story right there. Chapter 4 gets a little cloak and dagger, taking you into the secret world of illegal radio jammers. And Chapter 5, it helps you find a story right in your audience's own homes, showing how RF noise from their own gadgets could be the real reason their tech is so glitchy. And look at this. This is a perfect example of how to make that connection. This line is pulled straight from a sample radio script in the guide. It's so relatable, right? It takes this techie problem, RFI, and turns it into that shared, hair-pulling experience we've all had with tech support. That's exactly how you make this stuff land with an audience. Let's just zoom in for a second on one of these. Take Chapter 1, GPS disruptions. Now, most people hear GPS and they just think of their car's navigation, right? But what this guide shows is how those timing signals from GPS satellites are absolutely essential for, well, pretty much everything. We're talking the stock market, our cell networks, the whole shebang. And here's the best part. The guide doesn't just throw topics at you. It gives you these incredible, ready-to-go story angles. I mean, just imagine doing a piece on delivery drones going nuts near an airport because of jamming. Or what about an investigation showing how your local bank literally can't process a single transaction without a clock signal from space? These are amazing stories, visually interesting and super relevant. All right, so we've seen the personal side. Now let's zoom out. The second half of the guide really scales things up. We're moving away from personal headaches and into stuff that threatens the entire community. This is where RFI stops being just an annoyance and starts becoming a real, serious risk to business and to public safety. So, chapters 6 to 10 tackle these huge issues. Chapter 6 is a killer business story. It's about how RFI in the office is secretly costing companies a fortune in lost productivity. Chapter 7 is fun. It dives into the Wi-Fi wars you see in apartment buildings, a perfect story of tech conflict. Chapter 8 looks at Wi-Fi calling and asks the scary question: what happens when your 911 call depends on that spotty signal? Chapter 9 goes full-on true crime, looking at deliberate cell site jamming. And then there's Chapter 10, and that's where things get life or death. Yeah, let's just stop on that for a second. Cell site jamming. We're not talking about your microwave accidentally messing with the Wi-Fi anymore. No, this is somebody deliberately and illegally using a transmitter to shut down communications. Think about that. A thief using a jammer to knock out all the security cameras on a block. Or even scarier, someone blocking every single 911 call in a whole neighborhood. And that leads us right into the final, and you could argue, the most critical chapter of the whole guide. This is where we learn how RFI can literally silence the radios of our first responders, firefighters, police, paramedics. It even looks at how interference can stop emergency sirens from working. And these are not just some far-off what-ifs. The guide gives you the blueprint to find these exact stories happening in your own backyard. So as you can see, this is so much more than just a document with some ideas. It's a complete reporting toolkit, really. It's built to save you time and to point you straight to stories that are going to have a huge impact. It really breaks down into 3 key things for you. First, you get tons of compelling, already vetted story angles. Second, it gives you ideas on where to find the experts you need to talk to, from the super technical RF engineers to federal law enforcement. And third, you get these professionally written, ready-to-go radio spots you can use to promote your work. It's the whole package, start to finish. At the end of the day, reporting on this is really about one thing: making the invisible visible. It's about explaining to your viewers, to your listeners, what these hidden forces are that are shaping their lives, and showing them the hidden dangers that come with all the tech we now rely on. You know, there's a line from the guide's conclusion that I think just nails it, and I want to leave you with it. It says, "The story of radio frequency interference is a story about what we take for granted." And that's it, right? It's about all those silent, invisible systems that make our world work, and the story of what happens when they suddenly go quiet. So really, the only question left for you is, with everything we've just talked about, from a simple glitchy key fob all the way up to a silenced emergency siren, which part of this massive invisible story are you going to tell first?